All right, so we're looking at something really fascinating today, pulled right from our usual spot, the AI Agent Store website.
Yeah, we're focusing on a tool called Kilo Code, and it's an open source AI agent that, well, it's designed to do a lot more than just help you write code.
Okay, let's get into that because this isn't just for, one type of coder. The list is huge. Front-end engineers, DevOps, data engineers, even indie hackers.
hmm
What makes it so relevant to everyone?
I think it's the sheer depth of what it does and the fact that it doesn't pull you out of your work. It runs right inside your environment, VS Code, JetBrains, IDEs, that kind of thing.
And it's a full coding agent.
Right. Which means it's not just generating a function for you. It plans entire features. It generates new code from just natural language, and it can refactor old projects, debug things.
And here's the part that really got me. It can run terminal commands. That's huge for DevOps. And it can even automate the browser to test things out.
It can, with your approval, of course.
Of course. But that level of control,
Yeah.
that's ambitious.
It is, and that's exactly where that 74% autonomy score comes from. That number basically signifies the agent's ability to handle these big, complex requests without needing you to constantly check in.
So it's like true delegation.
It's true delegation.
But how does it actually achieve that 74%? Isn't that just a fancy way of saying it, runs for a while before it gets stuck?
No, not at all. The architecture is pretty smart. It uses 5 different agent modes. There's an orchestrator that manages the whole task, then a coder, a debugger.
And they work together.
They work in parallel, actually, so it can break one big feature request down into, say, writing the API endpoints while it's also scaffolding the tests at the same time.
That's a different way of thinking. And that brings us to the architect mode, right?
Yes.
That's the planning phase.
Exactly. It's for planning new features and just deeply understanding the code base it's working in.
Yeah, we saw some community feedback on that. People were saying it can come up with a really solid feature implementation incredibly fast, sometimes, faster and better than a human dev might on the first pass.
And what's really fascinating about that speed is where it comes from. It's not just typing fast. KiloCode can connect to over 400 different language models through things like OpenRouter.
Wait, so you're not locked into one specific model?
Not at all. Imagine your IDE having access to hundreds of LLMs, and the agent can pick the best brain for the job.
So it might use one model for Python debugging, but a totally different one for, say, generating React boilerplate.
Precisely. It acts like an intelligent router. And that's the kind of flexibility that developers really, really want. You can experiment, compare models, all from one spot.
That is powerful.
It is. And they have optional hosted credits, so you don't even need to manage all the API keys yourself just to try it out.
So for you listening, the practical benefit here seems to be a huge reduction in context switching. You stay in your IDE. The AI is right there with you, completely customizable.
Yeah, and if you zoom out, the bigger picture is that having a freemium open source tool with this kind of autonomy, it's changing things. AI-assisted development is moving away from vendor lock-in and more towards this highly customizable, community-driven world.
Which leaves you with a pretty interesting question to think about. If an open source agent can hit 74% autonomy today, how quickly will that last 26% of human intervention disappear? And what does that mean for the role of a developer tomorrow?
Something to think about for sure.
To explore Kilo Code and the resources we talked about, you can visit AIAgentStore.ai. We really appreciate you taking the time to rate this conversation.